No one warned Elias Crow that peace could be dangerous. If they had, he might not have signed the contract. If they had, he might not have walked down the river path that evening. And if they had, 3 ancient alien civilizations would never have learned what humans do best when the universe underestimates them. Elias Crow stood alone on the cracked stone porch, staring at the small house he now owned outright. It wasn't impressive. 1 floor. Thick stone walls. A slanted metal roof shaped to survive the violent rains of Aurelian 9. But it was quiet. No traffic drones. No colony alarms. No shouting traders or drunk spacers. That was why he bought it. After 10 years working as a systems salvager, pulling broken alien tech out of forgotten war zones, Elias wanted silence more than comfort. He wanted a place where no one expected anything from him. The realtor had tried to talk him out of it. Humans rarely settle this far from the colony ring, the insectoid broker had said, antennae twitching nervously. There are unknown variables. Elias had smiled and signed anyway. Now, as dusk painted the sky purple and gold, he exhaled slowly. For the first time in years, his hands weren't shaking from stress or adrenaline. He placed his bag inside the house and stepped back out, drawn by a sound he hadn't noticed before. Running water. Behind the house, a narrow dirt trail cut through silverleaf trees, their branches glowing faintly as night approached. The air smelled clean. Untouched. Elias followed the sound without thinking, boots crunching softly against stone and root. The river appeared suddenly, wide, clear, and glowing faintly with bioluminescent algae. And then he froze. 3 figures stood waist-deep in the water. They were not human. Their skin shimmered like moonlight on ice, pale blue and softly glowing. Tall, slender forms moved gracefully through the current, long white hair floating freely around them. Their eyes, large and reflective, caught the last light of the setting sun. Alien. Undeniably alien. Elias's heart slammed into his ribs. He took a step back. A branch snapped. 3 heads turned at once. The silence shattered. The nearest figure dipped slightly into the water, eyes wide but calm. Another crossed her arms with a sharp, defensive motion. The third simply stared at Elias, her gaze sharp, calculating. Elias swallowed hard. I'm sorry. I didn't know anyone lived out here. The third one tilted her head. You are holding a habitation deed, she said. Her voice was smooth, musical, and carried easily over the water. Elias looked down. The contract was still clenched in his hand. Yes, he said quickly. I just moved in. I didn't mean to intrude. I'll leave. Something unexpected happened. She smiled. Then you are the human who bought the stone dwelling, she said. Interesting. The tension eased slightly. Not gone, but softened. I'm Elias, he said, carefully keeping his eyes on their faces. Elias Crow. We are the Lirati, the second one said, curiosity overtaking embarrassment. I am Celis. These are Vireth and Naya. We assumed the house would remain empty, Naya added. Most species avoid this region. I like quiet, Elias said honestly. That earned him a low, melodic laugh. You will not find quiet for long, Vireth said. This river is watched. Elias blinked. Watched by who? Before she could answer, Celis gestured sharply. Turn around, human Elias. Lirati customs are tolerant, but not careless. Oh, right. Sorry. Elias turned immediately, face burning. Behind him, water splashed. Soft laughter followed. When he finally walked back to his house, the quiet felt different. Heavy. Like the pause before something big happened. The next morning, Elias stood in his kitchen staring at 3 sealed nutrient packs from Earth. Rare imports. Expensive. Valuable. A peace offering. He didn't know Lirati customs, but humans had survived worse misunderstandings than this. Their home was built directly over the river, curved, flowing architecture grown rather than constructed. The door opened before he touched it. Naya stood there. You return quickly, she said. I wanted to apologize properly, Elias replied, holding out the pack. "This is food from my home world. A greeting gift." Her eyes widened. "You bring a bonding offering." Elias nearly dropped it. "A what?" Vireth appeared behind her, interest lighting her expression. "Prepared nourishment, presented with intent." "Yes. Very direct." "No," Elias said quickly. "No intent. Just neighbors." The three exchanged glances. "Human customs are dangerous," Celis said thoughtfully. They invited him inside. As they ate, Elias learned pieces of their story. The Lirati were refugees. Their rivers poisoned. Their world fractured by slow collapse. They had fled not as conquerors, but as survivors. And for the first time, Elias realized something important. They weren't hiding. They were watching. That night, as Elias lay in bed listening to the river, a deep vibration passed through the ground, too low for sound, too precise to be natural. Something ancient stirred beneath the water, and humanity had just stepped into its path. Elias didn't sleep much after the vibration. Every time he closed his eyes, he felt it again, like a giant heartbeat under the soil. The river kept whispering outside, calm and innocent, as if it hadn't just sent a warning through the ground. At dawn he walked to the riverbank, careful and quiet. Mist floated above the water. The algae glow was weak in daylight, but the surface still shimmered like glass. He crouched near the edge and dipped his fingers in. Cold. Too cold. Not natural for this season. Behind him, a soft footstep. Elias turned quickly. Naya stood there, wrapped in a flowing silver garment that moved like water even when there was no wind. Her eyes studied him the way a medic studies a wound. "You felt it," she said. Elias didn't pretend. "Yeah. Last night." "What was that?" Naya looked past him, downriver, as if she feared the water itself could hear. "It is the Deep Watcher," she said quietly. "A presence older than the colony. Older than the Lirati who live here now." Elias swallowed. "A creature." "A mind," Naya answered. "Sometimes a creature. Sometimes not. Words are weak for it." Elias stood and rubbed his face. He had spent years salvaging wreckage from wars that ended before he was born. He had seen alien hulls split open like fruit, seen machines still trying to kill after their masters were dust. He thought he understood fear. But this was different. This was fear with patience. "So why are you bathing here if it's watching?" he asked. Naya's lips lifted slightly, like she found his question almost sweet. "Because the Watcher respects the river. And because it is better to be seen openly than hunted in shadows." Before Elias could ask what that meant, Celis called from the walkway above. "Human Elias," she said, voice sharper than usual. "Come. Now." Elias followed Naya up into the Lirati home. Inside, the air felt tense. Vireth stood near the open wall window, staring toward the colony road. Celis was holding something in her hand, an object like a thin metal disc, pulsing with faint light. "What is it?" Elias asked. "A signal," Celis said. "A formal arrival. Official." Viretha's eyes narrowed. "They found us." Elias's stomach tightened. "Who found you?" Naya answered, voice low. "The Compact." Elias knew that word. Everyone on Aurelian 9 did. The Interstellar Compact wasn't a single species. It was a layered alliance of old powers who believed they had the right to manage younger worlds. They claimed order. They enforced it with paperwork and fleets. And humans were tolerated. Useful labor. Dangerous creativity. Never trusted. The front doorway slid open without anyone touching it. A tall figure stepped inside as if the house belonged to him. He looked mostly humanoid, but wrong in ways Elias could feel. Smooth dark skin marked with thin gold lines. Black eyes with no visible whites. His clothing was a stiff, formal uniform that didn't bend naturally as he moved. 2 drones hovered behind him, silent and ready. He didn't look at Elias at first. His gaze went to the 3 Lirati women like a judge looking at prisoners. "Celis," Vireth. Naya, he said in a cold, measured tone. By order of the Compact Water Claim Authority, you are required to present yourselves for relocation review. Viretha's hands clenched. We have done nothing wrong. The official finally looked at Elias, then dismissed him with a glance like a stain. This is compact business, he said. Not human business. Elias felt heat rise in his chest, but he forced his voice calm. They live here. They contribute here. How is that not our business? The official turned slightly, and the gold lines on his skin seemed to brighten. Humans do not hold senior compact standing. This region is under water claim protection. The river is not yours to share. Celis stepped forward, her voice steady. We are not claiming the river. We are surviving beside it. You are unregistered water-sensitive refugees, the official replied. Your presence has triggered a deep watcher response. That is a risk level beyond your authority. Elias's blood went cold. So you know about the vibration. The official's eyes flicked to Elias. Of course. The watcher is waking. And you have stirred it. Naya's face tightened. We have lived beside this river quietly for 2 cycles. The watcher did not wake then. The official pointed at Elias. The human did not live here then. Elias wanted to argue, but Celis raised a hand gently, a silent request for patience. What does the compact want? She asked. The official lifted the pulsing disc. A hologram flared above it, maps, legal seals, and a bright red marker over their home. Relocation, he said. The watcher cannot be allowed to interact with a mixed settlement. You will be moved to a controlled habitat near the colony center for monitoring. Compliance will be rewarded. Resistance will be corrected. Viretha's voice sharpened like a blade. We are not animals. The official didn't blink. Then act like citizens and obey. Elias stepped forward before he could stop himself. They aren't the problem, he said. If something under the river is waking up, moving them won't change that. The official's mouth moved into something that wasn't a smile. Spoken like a species that believes courage replaces physics. Elias stared back. Sometimes it does. The drones shifted, reacting to his tone. A quiet warning. Naya's fingers brushed Elias's wrist, light, steadying. Not a romantic touch. A reminder to breathe. Celis took a slow step toward the official. We request time, she said. To speak with our neighbors. To prepare. To ensure we do not cause harm. The official studied her, then nodded once. One day. At sunset tomorrow, you will present yourselves at Dock 17 for transport. He turned to leave, then paused. And human Elias, he said without looking back, do not interfere. The compact has ended wars over less than a river. The door slid shut behind him. Silence returned, but it wasn't peaceful. It was a silence full of pressure, like the air before a storm. Vireth slammed her palm against the wall, and the surface rippled like water struck by a stone. They are taking us. Naya's eyes glimmered, anger and fear tangled together. They will put us in a glass box and call it mercy. Celis looked at Elias. Her calm was still there, but now it was stretched thin. You should not be involved, she said softly. Elias shook his head. I'm already involved. He said the watcher woke because I moved in. Naya's gaze held Elias's. The watcher reacts to will, she said. It senses intent. Elias frowned. So if I'm determined to help you. It may wake further, Celis finished. Elias's mind raced. Humans didn't have compact power. Humans didn't have fleets. Humans didn't have ancient legal standing. But humans had something else. They had stubbornness. They had creativity. They had the habit of turning impossible into a problem that could be engineered. He looked from one sister to the next. Tell me everything you know about this watcher, he said. Not legends. Not poetry. Facts. Vireth hesitated. Then she nodded once, sharply. Fine. Naya added, voice quiet but intense, if you choose this, human Elias, you may make an enemy of the compact. Elias gave a hard, tired smile. I've made worse enemies than paperwork bullies. Celis exhaled slowly, as if making a decision she didn't want to need. Then listen, she said. Because the Watcher isn't just beneath the river. Her voice dropped. It is part of the river. Elias felt his stomach sink. Naya continued, long ago, an older species built a living system, a guardian that remembers. It holds the river's balance. It punishes those who abuse it. It protects those who respect it. And the compact wants control of it, Vireth said bitterly. That is what water claim protection truly means. Elias stared out the window toward the flowing river. He could almost feel eyes in the current. Not watching like a predator. Watching like a judge. He thought about the compact official's calm certainty. About the drones. About the red marker over the house. Then he thought about humans, how they survived Earth, survived leaving it, survived being treated like loud newcomers in a cold galaxy. He turned back to the sisters. Okay, Elias said. We don't fight them with weapons. The sisters watched him closely. We fight them with the one thing they can't stand, Elias said. Human cleverness, Naya whispered. Elias nodded. We make the Watcher choose us. Outside, the river continued to flow, quiet and endless. But deep below, something old was listening. Elias didn't call in sick to work that day. He quit. Krellin, his four-armed supervisor at the salvage yard, stared at him across the cluttered office. You're walking away from steady credits, the hulking alien rumbled. Over a river. Elias nodded once. Over people. Krellin studied him for a long moment, then made a low clicking sound humans had learned meant respect. That's a very human reason, he said. Try not to get vaporized. Elias left with a datapad, a toolkit, and a plan that wasn't really a plan yet, more like a stubborn refusal to accept the answer he'd been given. By midday, he was back at the river. The Lirati sisters stood with him at the bank. The water looked calm, but Elias could feel it again, that pressure, like a thought waiting to be spoken. You are certain? Celis asked. Once begun, this cannot be unseen. Elias rolled up his sleeves. Yeah. Humans are good at that. Naya watched him carefully. Good at what? At doing things everyone says are pointless, he replied. He unpacked equipment that made no sense to the sisters at first. Sensors scavenged from old mining rigs. A compact generator. Thin cables and interface nodes. Vireth frowned. You plan to measure it? No, Elias said. I plan to talk to it. The sisters exchanged uneasy looks. The Watcher is not a being that speaks, Naya said. Neither are stars, Elias replied, kneeling by the water. But humans figured out how to listen to them. He planted the first sensor into the riverbed. The water rippled outward, not violently, curious. The second sensor caused a faint vibration. Elias smiled grimly. It's reacting, he murmured. Celis's eyes widened. You're provoking it. No, Elias corrected. I'm acknowledging it. By sunset, the system was complete. A web of instruments feeding data into his pad, pressure shifts, energy flows, harmonic resonances that shouldn't exist in something as simple as a river. And beneath it all, a pattern. This isn't random, Elias said, voice tight with awe. It's structured. Layered. Like memory. Naya knelt beside him. The elders believed the Watcher remembered every touch the river ever received. Elias swallowed. Then let's give it something new to remember. He stepped into the river. The cold shocked him, stealing his breath. The water pressed against his skin, not aggressively, but firmly, like a hand testing strength. Elias! Vireth snapped. Get out! He shook his head. Not yet. He closed his eyes and forced his breathing steady. I know you're there, he said aloud, feeling ridiculous. I don't know what you are. But I know what we are. The pressure increased. Images flickered behind his eyes. Not visions, not hallucinations, but impressions. Floods. Droughts. Cities rising and falling. Species drinking, poisoning, abandoning. Judgment. We break things, Elias continued, voice strained. It's kind of our thing. But we also fix what we break. Sometimes late. Sometimes badly. But we try. The water surged around his waist. Silas gasped. Naya reached for him, then stopped, sensing something shift. Elias clenched his fists. We don't own this river. We never will. But neither does the compact. If you're going to choose the ones who stay. Who learn. Who don't cage what they don't understand. The river went still. Then warm. The pressure faded, replaced by something else. Acceptance, maybe. Or curiosity. Elias stumbled backward, soaked and shaking, collapsing onto the bank. The sisters rushed to him. Naya touched his face, her skin glowing brighter. It listened. Before Elias could respond, a distant hum cut through the air. Drop ships. The sky darkened as 3 compact vessels descended toward the river, sleek and merciless. The same official stood at the lead craft's ramp, flanked by armed enforcers. This is an authorized activity, he announced, voice amplified. Step away from the river immediately. Elias stood slowly, water dripping from his clothes. You're too late. The official's eyes narrowed. You believe sentiment has changed physics? No, Elias said. I believe respect has. The river responded. The water rose, not violently, not attacking, but forming a smooth, towering arc behind Elias. Light pulsed through it like a living heartbeat. The ground trembled. Compact sensors screamed. What is happening? One enforcer shouted. The official's calm cracked. Stabilize the field. But the watcher didn't strike. It showed. The water's surface became transparent, revealing layers beneath, living structures woven into the river itself. Not a weapon. A system. A guardian designed to adapt, not dominate. A projection spread outward, flooding compact displays with data they didn't have clearance to see. Silas stepped forward, voice steady. The watcher responds to intent, not authority. Naya added, eyes blazing. You tried to own it. The human asked it to choose. The official stared at Elias, something close to disbelief creeping into his expression. You negotiated with an ancient system. Elias shrugged weakly. We negotiate with hurricanes on Earth. This wasn't that different. The watcher's presence settled, firm and final. The river lowered. Silence followed, thick, heavy, undeniable. The compact official swallowed. This claim will be re-evaluated. Vireth smiled sharply. You mean withdrawn? The official said nothing. He turned and signaled retreat. The ships lifted off, leaving scorched air and stunned silence behind. Elias sank back onto the grass, exhausted beyond words. Naya knelt beside him, awe and warmth in her eyes. You didn't dominate it. Elias closed his eyes. That's the trick. Humans don't always win by being stronger. Silas looked at the river, then at him. You changed our future. Elias laughed weakly. Guess I didn't get the quiet life after all. The river flowed on, unchanged, yet forever altered. And somewhere deep within it, the watcher remembered one thing very clearly. A human had spoken to it. And listened. The compact did not admit defeat. They never did. Instead, they sent messages. Official ones. Carefully worded ones. Messages filled with concern, regulation, and phrases like unprecedented anomaly and temporary suspension pending review. The red marker over the river vanished from public maps, replaced with a neutral grey label, Environmental Watch Zone, Restricted Access. But everyone on Aurelian 9 knew what it meant. The compact had backed away. Elias Crow became a problem. He felt it immediately. Surveillance drones that lingered a little longer. Requests for interviews that sounded polite but carried pressure underneath. His name appeared in colony feeds, always followed by speculation. Human communicates with ancient system. Compact authority challenged by civilian. River entity responds selectively. Elias ignored most of it. He spent his days repairing his house, reinforcing the riverbank, and helping the Lirati sisters adapt their home to increased attention. The Watcher remained calm, present but quiet, like a sleeping giant who trusted the ground beneath it. One evening, as the sun dipped low, Naya stood beside Elias at the river's edge. "The Watcher is content," she said softly. "It hasn't felt this way in generations." Elias nodded. "Good. Let's keep it that way." Celis approached with a serious expression. "We have a problem." Elias sighed. "Of course we do." "The Compact has filed a cultural appeal," Vireth said, joining them. "They cannot take the river, so they intend to isolate us instead." Elias frowned. "How?" "They will label us catalysts," Celis explained. "Too closely linked to the Watcher. Too dangerous to remain in open society." Elias felt anger spark. "That's just exile with nicer words." "Yes," Naya said. "And they will say it is for everyone's safety." Elias stared at the flowing water, jaw tight. "They're afraid." "Of losing control," Vireth added. Elias thought fast. Humans had faced this pattern before, on Earth, in space, everywhere. When power couldn't win by force, it won by fear. Unless fear stopped working. "We don't hide," Elias said finally. "We show them." The sisters looked at him. "Show them what?" Celis asked. Elias smiled, and it wasn't a gentle smile. "That this river doesn't belong to me. Or to you. Or to the Compact. It belongs to everyone who treats it right." The next day, Elias made an announcement. Not through official channels. Through the colony's oldest system, open broadcast. He stood at the riverbank, camera drone hovering above him, the Lirati sisters beside him. The Watcher pulsed faintly beneath the surface, visible to anyone paying attention. "This is Elias Crow," he said plainly. "I'm a human. I live here. And I want to make something clear." The feed spread fast. "I didn't tame the river. I didn't control it. I didn't win a fight." He gestured to the water. "I listened. And it listened back." Images streamed live, data overlays from Elias's sensors, showing stability, balance, harmony. Not spikes. Not danger. "This system responds to respect," Elias continued. "Not species. Not rank. Not paperwork." The comments exploded. Scientists. Engineers. Ecologists. Independent researchers from across the sector requested access. Not ownership. Understanding. The Compact issued a warning. Elias ignored it. Within days, teams arrived, not fleets, but individuals. A botanist who wanted to study the river's algae. A Soran hydrologist who volunteered to improve water flow downstream. Even a human child, standing nervously at the bank, asking if it was okay to throw a leaf into the current. The Watcher accepted them all. The river remained calm. The Compact panicked. They sent a delegation, not enforcers this time, but negotiators. The same official returned, his posture less rigid, his eyes more cautious. "You are creating a precedent," he told Elias privately. "One we cannot contain." Elias leaned against his porch railing. "Good. This system could destabilize interstellar resource law," the official said. "Entire claim structures are built on authority." "Then maybe they were built wrong," Elias replied. The official studied him. "You humans are inconvenient." Elias smiled faintly. "We've been told." That night, Celis stood with Elias under unfamiliar stars. "You've made us visible," she said. "That can be dangerous." Elias nodded. "Yeah. But invisible is worse." Naya stepped closer, her glow soft in the dark. "The Watcher has changed its pattern." Elias looked at the river. How? It is opening, Vireth said, awe in her voice. Not fully, but enough. Elias felt it then, a ripple not just through water, but through something larger. The Watcher wasn't just guarding this river anymore. It was learning. And somewhere far away, in places older and colder, other ancient systems felt the change. They noticed. The Compact convened an emergency assembly. The word human appeared more times in that meeting than it had in decades. Not as labor. Not as nuisance. As a variable. As something unpredictable and, worse, effective. A delegate from an elder species summarized it best. They do not conquer ancient systems, she said. They befriend them. Silence followed. On Aurelian 9, Elias sat on his porch, exhausted but calm. The Lirati sisters shared food with neighbors, humans, aliens, anyone curious enough to approach without fear. Naya sat beside Elias, shoulder brushing his. You didn't just protect us, she said quietly. You changed how the galaxy sees your kind. Elias stared at the river, watching light ripple across its surface. We're not special, he said. We just don't accept that no is the end of the conversation. The river pulsed once, gentle and approving. Far away, the galaxy adjusted its expectations. And humanity, once dismissed as loud, fragile newcomers, was quietly reclassified. Not harmless. Not dominant. But dangerous in a way no one had prepared for. The Compact's final move did not arrive with warships. It arrived with signatures. Across the sector, emergency notices spread through official channels. A new classification was introduced overnight, carefully phrased, heavily footnoted, and dangerously absolute. Adaptive Sentient Environmental Systems, ASES. Jurisdiction, Compact oversight only. The Watcher had been named. And once something was named, the Compact believed it could be owned. Elias read the notice 3 times, jaw tightening more with each line. They're not backing off, he muttered. They are circling. Celis stood beside him, calm but tense. This is how they claim without force. By redefining the rules. Naya's glow flickered faintly. They will send observers. Controllers. They will pretend to protect the Watcher while slowly caging it. Viretha's fists clenched. And if it resists? They will call it hostile, Celis finished. Elias looked toward the river. It flowed steadily, unchanged, as if unaware that a galaxy-sized bureaucracy had just decided its fate. Or maybe it was aware. That night, the Watcher spoke. Not with words. With memory. Elias woke to pressure in his chest. Not pain, invitation. He stepped outside, drawn barefoot to the riverbank. The sisters followed, sensing it too. The water rose gently, not towering, not threatening. Light spread across its surface, forming shifting shapes, worlds, stars, rivers like veins across planets. A history unfolded. They saw the ones who built the Watcher, an ancient species who had learned too late that control destroys balance. They had created guardians not to rule nature, but to remember mistakes. To choose better next time. The Compact was not the first to try to own it. It was simply the latest. The Watcher's presence deepened, expanding beyond the river, beyond Aurelian 9. Signals echoed through subspace, reaching other dormant systems scattered across the galaxy. Sleeping rivers. Living forests. Atmospheric mines woven into gas giants. They stirred. Elias felt it then, not fear, not awe. Responsibility. It's not just choosing who stays here, he whispered. It's choosing how the future works. Celis looked at him. It is waiting for you. Elias shook his head. No. It's waiting for us. The Compact observers arrived at dawn. Not enforcers. Not negotiators. Auditors. They carried scanning arrays, containment protocols, legal codices thick enough to crush a human foot. The lead auditor, a tall, crystalline being, addressed Elias without preamble. By Compact resolution, this site is now under provisional management, it intoned. Human Elias Crow, you are ordered to disengage. Elias didn't move. Behind him, the river pulsed softly. "I won't," he said. The auditor's facets shimmered. "You do not have the authority to refuse." Elias nodded. "You're right. I don't." He stepped aside. Naya moved forward. Then Celis. Then Vireth. Then others, neighbors, colonists, scientists, species from across Aurelian 9 who had come not to claim, but to stand. Humans among them. Not shouting. Not threatening. Present. Elias raised his voice, steady and clear. "This system doesn't respond to authority. It responds to intent. If you want to manage it, you have to be chosen." The auditor hesitated. "That is not how governance works." The river rose. Not high. Wide. Its surface became a mirror, reflecting every being present, not their bodies, but their actions. Data poured into the auditor's systems, proof of contribution, care, restraint. Who took? Who gave back? Compact algorithms strained. They had no variable for respect. The watcher made its choice. The water parted, forming a path, not toward Elias alone, but toward the gathered community. The signal it emitted wasn't violent. It was declarative. Shared stewardship accepted. Exclusive control rejected. Across the galaxy, dormant systems echoed the response. The compact's networks lit up in alarm. This was bigger than one river. The auditor stepped back, crystalline voice fractured. This outcome was not projected. Elias met its gaze. "That's kind of our thing." Silence fell. Then, slowly, the auditor deactivated its containment protocols. "Provisional status withdrawn," it announced. "Further action, pending." The observers left. Not defeated, but changed. Weeks passed. The compact never admitted error. Instead, new frameworks quietly replaced old ones. Words like co-stewardship and local consent appeared in legal texts. Humans were invited, begrudgingly, into advisory roles they'd never been allowed near before. Not because they were powerful. Because they were trusted by systems no one else could reach. On Aurelian 9, life settled into a new rhythm. The Lirati sisters remained by the river, no longer refugees, but guardians alongside the Watcher. Elias rebuilt his house again, not stronger, but smarter, integrated with the land instead of imposed on it. One evening, Elias sat on the porch as the river glowed softly. Naya leaned against him. "The Watcher is sleeping again." "Good," Elias said. "It's earned the rest." Celis smiled faintly. "So have you." Vireth looked toward the stars. "Do you think the galaxy understands what happened here?" Elias shrugged. "Maybe not yet." Naya's glow warmed. "But it will remember." Elias nodded. Humans had never been the strongest species. Never the oldest. Never the most advanced. But when faced with something ancient and powerful, they didn't ask how to own it. They asked how to live with it. And that, more than fleets or laws, changed everything. The river flowed on. The Watcher dreamed. And the galaxy adjusted, quietly, to a new truth. Humanity did not conquer the future. It convinced the future to let them stay.